and one of Stuart's roommates were hanging out. It was around October-ish, a little bit before October-ish. It was around October-ish, and I got really drunk. I got really, really drunk, you know, under the influence. We get back, and it just really hits me. I can't drive an hour home. I can't drive that hour back home. And I was just sitting in the car chilling. Stuart came out, took us to McDonald's. They didn't have, I think McDonald's was closed. And he drove us back and was like, oh well, McDonald's is closed. You know, chill out in the car and deuces. See, at that point, Stuart and his ex-girlfriend, you know, the one he didn't want to be in a relationship with me with, but he wanted to be in a relationship with her, and that's why he didn't want to be in a relationship with me. By that point, they had broke up. And homegirl Aaliyah was going back into those days where she just come over and, you know, she get what she want, okay? Like, my ego was a little hurt from that summer, but you know, what am I supposed to do when faced with the opportunity of being in bed with someone who knows my body? Let me tell you, he knew my body, okay? So I came in, I was like, you know, I had that goal in mind, but at that point I was also under the influence. And, you know, honestly, anybody could have got that goal. Like, so Stuart and his roommate went inside, and I was just outside, and I was just like, oh yeah, I don't feel good. I feel sick. I don't know what's going to happen. Honestly, my main goal was to come over and get some cookie anyway. So I was trying to spend the night, okay? Stuart on the phone, and I was like, oh, I'm not feeling so good. And he was just like, oh, just sleep it off. And then when you're good, drive home. He didn't say come inside and sleep it off. He was telling me to sleep it off in my car. So then I called his roommate and I was like, I don't feel so good. Can you bring me some water? Roommate came out there and was like, oh, you really don't look good. Mind you, this wasn't a part of the plan, Aaliyah to get so under the influence that she doesn't look good, okay? I was coming to seduce and conquer. I wasn't coming to throw up on myself, but friends like, you don't look so good. Come into my room, you can go to sleep there, and then when you feel better, you can, you know, hop on the road, go back home. I go into his room, I'm chilling, the lights are off, and he goes back into the living room, and he's chilling with Stuart. And so they're playing video games on the TV in the living room, you know, some nerd things going on. They're playing video games, and I overhear him say something to Stuart. Like, I can't remember off the top of my head, I was under influence, but I know for a fact that it was something along the lines of, Aaliyah's never gonna stop loving you. And Stuart replied back, well, that sounds like a her problem. Or something along those lines. That sounds like a her problem. We not finna be together, yada, yada, yada. Okay, we not finna be together. We'll see about that. So later on that night, they finish playing video games, and his roommate goes back to his room. They go to their separate rooms. It's time to go to bed. And I was half asleep. After that, you know, I cried a little bit. My feelings were hurt. Cried a little bit like, oh, we never gonna be together. Boo-hoo-hoo. Cried a little bit. And roommate came into the room, and he immediately, like, was laying on the floor. Now, mind you, in my head, now, I'm not over here thinking I'm throwing out the moves. I honestly, to this day, I wasn't throwing out the moves. But homeboy was sleeping on the floor when I was on his bed, and he had a whole full-size bed. So I was like, why are you laying on the floor? You can lay on the bed. Like, me and this person in the past, we've hung out before without Stuart being involved. We watched movies together before without Stuart being involved. So it's just not like, I don't see that person as a threat or anything like that. But so I was just like, yeah, we can lay on the same bed, because why not, you know? So he got on the bed, and he ended up kissing me. NANI? Omae wa mou shindeiru. And I think back, and in my mind, it's not, oh, I'm doing this to get revenge, but homeboy's about to be some rebound booty, okay? Rebound booty. I'm emotional. I'm under the influence. Stuart's talking about we're never going to be together. So why should I even be focusing my attention on him? This person is giving me some attention, because it didn't start off like just kissing. He like stroked my hair and everything, and I was just like, oh, this is what it feels like to be loved on, because obviously I was in a lack of love. I was in a little drought. I was in an emotional place. Okay. And that felt really good at that moment. You guys already know where this is going. One thing led to another. And wow, chicka, wow, wow. Okay. And honestly, I wasn't thinking of this in a relationship type of way. You know how Aaliyah got a history of doing her little hot girl summer? I was thinking that I had a little side piece for my hot girl summer. I was thinking about this as only a physical relationship. I wasn't thinking about us really being together. Honestly, he was tied up in a relationship at that moment. He told me that their relationship, they were just on the cusp of being broken up. It was gonna happen after a while. It's just no one said the word yet, but they're not together anymore. So I was like, okay, cool, because while I did it while I was under the influence, when I woke up the next day, I wasn't finna have no regrets. I wasn't gonna have any regrets. Like, it was done and over with. I'm a grown woman. Even if I do something while under the influence, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I wouldn't have did it while I was sober. I mean, you did it already, so what's next? So I'm gonna take up to it. I'm gonna own up to it like a grown up. And he came back home that next morning. I was asleep. He came back home that next morning and brought back like some food and everything. So he gave me like some food, and I was like, wow, like, this isn't like how my other hookups have ever been. Like, after we hooked up, like, I got food the next day. Like, I felt taken care of, is what I'm saying. And that made me feel like, oh yeah, we could do this again, because you making me feel special. Because in all the past of me, you know, just handing my cookie out to other people, I wasn't feeling special. I was getting my feelings hurt. So yeah, I was like, okay, like, I'm interested in doing this again. So I wake up, I'm in a good mood, you know, that was a good night's sleep, you guys, you know, we cuddled, and, I go and I'm leaving the house, and before I do, Stuart's like just in his room, sitting on his bed, kind of looking a little somber, and I'm over here like in my head, I'm like, oh, fuck, he knows. Oh, you look nice. Like, I don't know why, but I was like, he did look nice. He dressed up. I don't never see that boy dress up like he did the day after I got it on with his roommate, but he dressed up, and I thought, oh, you look nice. And I was like, oh, come give me a hug. And in my head, I kind of already had this idea that Stuart didn't care about me. So it was just like, you don't care about me, you don't care what I'm doing, right? So I've had no guilt in that situation about anything to do with Stuart. I was just like, you look nice, give me a hug, I'm about to leave. And then he was just like, don't touch me. Okay. All right, I won't touch you. I won't touch you. You know? Turns out, he supposedly, so in what he told me at first, okay, so I'm going to tell you what he told me at first. He said he could hear us that night. And I believed him, you know, the walls are thin, but, like, also I was like, I wasn't making up that much noise or anything, like, come on. But afterwards, I found out from his mouth is that actually his roommate told him, like, he was like, hey, let's go out and get some breakfast this morning. And in that morning, he kind of was like, hey, I did something wrong, you know, me and Aaliyah, how do you feel about it? That's how Stuart got the knowledge of what happened that night. But that's how me and Stuart's roommate first got in that situationship, okay? And like, at the end of the day, if you guys don't know, I married Stuart, okay? I don't regret the relationship. I regret the scars I'm left dealing with. I want to send you guys off with positive vibes for the weekend, positive vibes in your life, and just don't do what I would do. Let me leave it at that. Don't do what I would do, because